What's up guys, it's Mike for SimRacing604 and today I'm going to be talking about VR. I've owned VR for a lot more than 6 months, but for some time it was down, so I'll call this my six month check-in on VR. What do I think about VR now? Let's talk about it. Alright guys, so VR, first of all, same thing I did with the direct drive video, I'm going to tell you what I'm using. I am using the Oculus Rift, and I know there's a few other players out there now, a lot of people going for Windows mixed reality headsets. I know they're a lot cheaper, but I can only speak for the Oculus Rift. So what do I think of VR after 6 months? A bit more tepid than I was when I first used it. I remember when I first donned the headset and you go through the Oculus intro video where you're in a spaceship and you can reach out and touch these things and it's so amazing. And then I jumped in, I believe it was the SF70H in Assetto Corsa, and I sat on the Monza track and just basically I was trying to force myself to breathe. It was so amazing, and I was looking around and I just remember thinking, this is it. This is a game changer. I've never seen anything like this. 6 months on, that effect has worn off to a great degree. I don't get that wow feeling anymore. For racing, it's awesome. It's so amazing, and I don't think any video game genre, sim racing, flight sims, there's probably very few others that at this stage lend themselves as well to VR as sim racing. So it's really cool, but it has worn off somewhat. And here are a few points, and I'll preface this by saying I do really enjoy VR, and I still drive VR a lot. Right now it's very hot. You can probably see the sweat on my face, but right now it's really hot where I am in Western Canada, so I'm not using VR a lot right now, and that is actually the first of a few points that I want to get into. But I wanted to preface this by saying that I don't hate VR. I still use it as often as I can, but there are some gripes. Number one, the heat. This thing is hot. The Oculus Rift is hot to keep on my head. I have to turn a fan on, which blows directly at me, and that does help. And with that heat comes fog. The lenses inside start to fog up and things like that. So, it's just a heat generating thing. I'm hoping the second generation Oculus can put a couple of fans in the side and just exhaust that heat, out the side instead of onto my eyeballs. It is kind of annoying if I'm running even like a 10-minute race, I take it off and I'm all sweaty. They need to do something about that. And it seems minor, but I can't imagine doing like an endurance race or something like that with it. And when I turn on a fan, of course I can't record video for you guys because the microphone picks up that air moving across the microphone diaphragm, I guess. Anyway, so that is one of the gripes. Two is that it's still an emerging technology, and so not everything is set up perfectly to accept it, and you just sit down at your computer, throw your headset on, and be fully immersed. Yes, there are, desktop programs that bring your desktop into your headset and things like that, but you're still fumbling, trying to find your mouse, things like that. And for me, I'm trying to start videos, make sure the video is recording, so it's on, off, on, off, on, off. So it's not quite there in terms of the software support for VR. Something like Assetto Corsa, you go to the main screen of Assetto Corsa, you select all your options, what car you want to drive, then you choose Oculus Rift, then you jump into the game, pull the headset down, and now you're driving. So again, you're kind of going on, off, on, off, on, off. iRacing has got around that. Project Cars 2 has got around that. I think maybe Assetto Corsa is the only one, but it's unfortunately my most common sim. It's what I drive the most. So hopefully the next generation of sims, it's not an issue. As soon as you boot into the game, you have that menu in front of you. So they're minor gripes, and again, I really love VR, but it's not perfect. And actually I'll add a third to that, and that is the clarity. It's not clear. You can step it up with super sampling, but generally when you step up your super sampling enough to make it a very clear image, you are taxing your frame rate quite significantly. So I run a 1080 video card, and it's still hard on my 1080 video card to step up the super sampling to say 2 times or something like that. I usually have to put it at 1.3, 1.4, something like that, which gives me that sort of balance between clarity and frame rate. So that is something that hopefully will improve, and I know there's an 8K headset now, so hopefully that is moving. That is the positive direction that VR is moving. So let's talk about the positives. What do I like about VR? Well, that immersion, that feeling I got when I first jumped in the SF70H is not there anymore. However, sometimes when I download a new mod or something like that and jump in the car for the first time and I'm sitting there in the cockpit of a Viper and I just look around and it feels like I'd be able to reach out and touch the dash and things like that. Or if you're in a race and you're side by side with another guy and you look over and you can see the driver, and you're coming up to turn 1 at Monza or something like that. It's incredible. It's incredible. And like I say, I don't think any other genre lends itself as much to VR as sim racing. It's truly, truly fantastic. There's just some small technical hurdles that I'm hoping they will get through for the next generation. I will say there's a strong movement now. If you're on Reddit at all, if you read the comments when I do VR, or not VR actually, when I do Automobilista videos, you will see people comment with no VR equals no buy. And I used to think, what's up with these people? They're missing out. Automobilista is an awesome, awesome sim. They're missing out on something great, to prove a point about everything should be VR. And I've kind of come around on that, and I understand what they're saying, although I still think it's a really inarticulate argument, and I think they should be a little bit more clear than no VR equals no buy. What I will say is that I understand that the importance of putting pressure on the game developers to support VR moving forward. Those of us, and it's quite a few of us at this point, who have invested, possibly in the video card to support it, and definitely the VR headset, don't want it to be that the next generation of sims do not support VR. That would stink. I would hate to have to shelf my Oculus and it be only running on legacy games like Assetto Corsa 1. Whereas we have Assetto Corsa 2 with no VR support or something like that. So I understand now kind of where that's coming from. We need to keep pressure on the developers to keep moving in the direction of VR, and also the pressure needs to go on the hardware developers as well to try and get these headsets, again, cooler, a clearer image, probably more Windows support, things like that, to, remove the need to don the headset, remove the headset kind of thing, and get that price point down. And I know it's not going to get better and cheaper. That's a tough one. But it's gonna really stink if the next generation of VR headsets does come out and it's 8K and it looks brilliant, but it costs $1,000, and then you need a 1180 video card or something like that to support it. Nobody wants to dump $2,000 to have the latest generation of VR. So hopefully that's not the direction things go. If you guys saw my Fanatic direct drive wheel video, I tried to predict pricing, what they would do, and I was horribly wrong. So hopefully I'm horribly wrong about this, and it won't cost $1,500 or $2,000 to get the next generation headsets and a supporting video card. Hopefully they will keep the cost down somehow. That would be my wish. So all in all, guys, 6 months. What do I think of VR? It's awesome. If I had to score it, it's an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's a fantastic technology, and I'm so glad I have it. I'm very fortunate to have a VR headset. I know a lot of you guys dream of having VR headsets, and I know how lucky I am to have it. I really do. But yeah, there are a few things they need to improve. The heat, the clarity, and again, Assetto Corsa, maybe it's just unique to Assetto Corsa, but I would like to see it where you don't have to keep removing and replacing the headset on your face. Kind of annoying, but they'll get there. Got to remember, this is just first generation of VR, and I think they've done a pretty darn bang up job with Gen 1. So that's going to do it, guys. 6 months. Really have strong positive feelings about VR, even though I spent most of this time talking about the negative. Overall, I do love it. The immersion is incredible. Like I say, to be in a race and just be able to look down. Has it made me fast? By the way, has it made me faster? Has VR made me faster? No. I will say I got more consistent with it though. When your sense of spatial awareness is a lot better because of VR as opposed to a flat screen. Yeah, you can see the apexes better. You can see the other cars around you, and it has made me more consistent. My best laps are as good in VR as they are on a flat screen. But yeah, I'm much more consistent with the VR. So, I do not belong to the no VR equals no buy crew, but I definitely do see the merit in pushing VR forward in the future. I think it's only going to get better. It's already awesome. I think it's only going to get better. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments what you think of VR. Are you 100% in and will never go back to flat screen, or are you still on the fence, or are you completely off VR? You think it's a waste, a gimmick? Who knows? Let me know in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.